This is Terry. I wanted to spend today's time to go through the three pool on Karura. Three pool on Karura has been live for 2 weeks now, going into the third week. And right now, momentum is really picking up because we'll be making a big push on um, the three pool as a whole due to the competitive nature of the APR, and obviously three pool being one of the first stablecoin pool supporting these major stable coins in the entire ecosystem. I wanted to kind of explain how three pool works. So for today's session, I'm going to be talking about, again, what is three pool, how do you operate it, from a liquidity provider standpoint, how do you contribute liquidity, how do you bridge assets to contribute liquidity, as well as to touch upon on the incentives and the benefits. So, without further ado, let's quickly jump into, what is three pool. So, a few weeks back, we published an article around the three pool, which is the first stablecoin pool on the Karura ecosystem. This post can be found in our Medium post. For those who are not familiar, we've basically listed some key value proposition for three pool. So first of all, three pool is made up of aUSD, USDC, and USDT. aUSD being obviously the decentralized stablecoin for the entire Polkadot ecosystem, currently can be minted natively on Karura or Akala. Or you can also swap assets for aUSD, which I'm going to touch upon. And then we also have USDC. So USDC is actually bridged over from the wormhole portal. And then finally, we have USDT, which is natively minted on StateMine. So three pool is made up of these three stablecoin currencies. And from a LP's perspective, if you're holding any of these stablecoin currency, you can actually provide LP directly to three pool. One of the milestones that we have unlocked for with three pool is we have secured a 20,000 KSM subsidy from the Kusama Treasury Council. So this proposal was approved 2 weeks ago, and this 20,000 KSM subsidy is for the duration of 52 weeks, meaning that these 20,000 KSM will be going out to liquidity providers who are contributing liquidity to the three pool. And there was a subsequent proposal on how to effectively spend this 20,000 KSM. And for those who are interested, you guys can go back to see the proposal as well as the progress. But basically, it was voted that half of the 20,000 KSM would be used to mint LKSM, and the remaining 50% would be used to mint Thai KSM, and then basically this subsidy will be paid out in the form of LKSM and Thai KSM. I'm going to talk about the benefits of why we believe this is the sort of best way to incentivize liquidity providers by splitting it into LKSM and Thai KSM. But that was basically, what the community felt was the most sound proposal. So right now, on top of the 20,000 KSM subsidy, there's additional incentives for three pool. So that being the Taiga token, as well as the KR token, which is also allocated right now. We can take a look into the total APR in just a second, but from a value proposition point of view, three pool is definitely one of the most well compensated or incentivized stablecoin pool, not only within the Polkadot ecosystem, but also across all other networks. So let's jump right into the DApp, to the interface, to see how, if you're a trader or a liquidity provider, how you can actually benefit from three pool. So diving right in to the Karura platform, I want to share how we can actually leverage 3Pool right now, which is launched on the Karura platform. So I'm going to cover two topics here. Number one is how do you actually contribute liquidity to 3Pool, and number two, how do you bridge assets into the Karura ecosystem right now. So for those who have already contributed liquidity to 3Pool, you guys will receive the LP token, which is called 3USD. So you can actually find 3USD right now in the portfolio page. This is an LP token, but a unique feature regarding to this LP token is you just need to hold on to it in your wallet, and you're able to um, claim the incentives that gets paid out on a weekly basis. I'm going to show you guys afterwards on where to claim the incentives, but the design mechanism of the 3USD LP token is that you're not required for further staking. So basically, our entire proposition is to unlock the usability for this type of LP tokens. So you can keep it in your wallet, you can use it in other use cases that right now we're building out, but ultimately it's not required for further staking. So let's move on to how do you actually contribute liquidity to 3Pool. Very similar to other LP pairs right now. If you go into the swap interface, go to liquidity, make sure you're on the add liquidity tab, and you can select the LP aUSD, USDC, and USDT pool. It's pretty easy to tell because it's powered by the Taiga protocol. So you select this pair, and you can actually contribute any of these stablecoin assets in a proportional, disproportional, or single-sided format. So depending on what you have, you can contribute to this pool, and what you will get in return is the 3USD token. Okay, and for traders who are looking to maybe you have, let's say, aUSD and you don't have USDC or USDT, and you don't want to go through the swapping process, you don't want to go through the bridging process, you can easily use the swap function and just swap your stable coins. So for example, aUSD, you want to swap some into USDT. So you would just make a swap transactions, and right now all the stablecoin swap transactions are powered by the 3Pool, which is by the Taiga protocol. So this is the easy way for somebody to sort of move between different stablecoin assets. The second topic for today is want to go through bridging. So USDC right now is powered by the Wormhole portal. Okay, so it's actually the portal is actually integrated directly into the Karura interface under the bridge section. There's one thing that I want to remind you guys of, which is the binding of your ERC20 address with your Polkadot address. Okay, so there's two tabs here. I know the default tab takes you to bridge, but I would actually advise you guys to bind your MetaMask ERC20 address first with your Polkadot wallet. So you go into the bind tab. First, you would need to connect to your MetaMask wallet, and then you would also choose your Polkadot.js wallet that you want to bind with the MetaMask. So for example, like because my address is already binded with my MetaMask, so what happens is like, I can only do this operation once, and once it's binded, you can't, you can't unbind, or you can't change to another address. Like it's on a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay. So the question is, if you did not bind, okay, you just came in here and you did the bridge, what happens is the system is automatically going to bind your Polkadot JS address with a randomly generated ERC20 address. Okay, so you'll still be able to get the funds across. However, you wouldn't have the seed phrase to the ERC20 address. So moving on, in the actual bridge, now that you have your ERC20 address, bind it with your Polkadot JS address. What you can do here is to select your assets to be transferred from the Ethereum side over onto the Karura side. So from the origin chain, select Ethereum, make sure destination chain is Karura, and then you can just input the amount of assets you want to put in to bridge over. And basically, there's three um, um, transactions that you've got to perform. Number one is to approve the token, so USDC in this case. The second function is to actually send it. And once it arrives on the Karura side, you would actually need to redeem it. Okay, and then you would have USDC in Karura that you can then use. The operation is quite similar for operating the USDT as well. So once again, if you already have USDT on StateMine, you can do this bridge from StateMine onto Karura. So once again, you use this interface. In the origin chain, you select StateMine. Destination chain, you select Karura, and then you select USDT. And then you just input the amount, and then the USDT gets bridged over from StateMine onto Karura. It's a simple transfer because these are both parachains, obviously. However, there is one step before you can actually do that, because if you're asking, what if you don't have USDT on StateMine to begin with? Like, how do you get it, right? So right now you can actually withdraw USDT into StateMine via the Bitfinex exchange. So just going to show you guys really quickly on how that withdrawal process looks like. So you're on the we're on the Bitfinex cryptocurrency exchange right now. In your wallet, you go into the withdrawal tab, and then on the left hand side you select USD, and then you can actually see what kinds of USDT Bitfinex currently supports withdrawal for. So obviously we'll select the Kusama one. You actually select it here. So from the drop down, you select Tether on Kusama. Input your Kusama wallet address. Input the amount of USDT you would like to transfer, and then basically submit the withdrawal. So what happens is the USDT actually goes to StateMine, and then from StateMine you go back to the bridge here, and then you just bridge over from the StateMine chain to Karura, and that's how you can get USDT into the Karura ecosystem. Okay. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next function that I want to cover, which is after you have minted, after you have contributed liquidity to 3pool, you have 3USD. So what can you do right now with 3USD? Right now, the 3USD pool is actually listed on the earn page. However, as I mentioned earlier, you actually are not required to stake the 3USD LP token, because the mechanism that we've designed is that incentives are accrued automatically, where tied back to the address that's holding on to the 3USD LP token. So what you would need to do is you just need to make claims on a weekly basis. Right now, incentives are being accrued on a weekly basis, and claims are made available also on a weekly basis via our own Taiga protocol DApp. So here, this card here that you're seeing on the earn LP staking page, you're actually not required to stake this LP token. Okay, it's simply to show how much liquidity right now is in the 3pool, what is the APR, as well as what the APR is composed of. It also shows the different composition of earnings that you guys are getting. Okay, so if you see here, like you can't actually stake, so that's normal. And what happens is if you click into the detail expand button, you can actually see the incentives being accrued. Again, it gets refreshed on a weekly basis. We will try to tweak the frequency to a higher frequency, so the rewards are you can actually see the rewards being reflected on a more dynamic basis. So just to cover, what type of rewards right now are being accrued for the 3 pool. There's a few because, as I mentioned, this is one of the best incentivized stablecoin pools across all networks. So number one, you're getting the fees. Okay, so fees are being accrued in 3 USD. Fees meaning the swap fees as well as the redemption fees. Okay, so if let's say a trader is making a swap transaction, right now the pool collects 0.25%. If an LP withdraws liquidity from the 3 pool, the pool charges 0.3%. So these are the fees that are accumulating in terms of 3 USD token. Okay, and then the other incentives are, the 20,000 subsidy, the 20,000 KSM subsidy that we received from the Kusama Treasury Council. Half of it was used to mint Thai KSM, and the other half is used to mint LKSM and paid out in these two formats of KSM. Over the course of 52 weeks. So this pool, in terms of incentives, is paying out Thai KSM, LKSM, and in addition to that, we are topping up with additional Taiga tokens as incentives, as well as Karura is also topping up with Karura tokens. So from the incentive side, you're looking at 4 different flavors of incentive tokens, and from the fees, you're looking at 3 USD LPs token. So definitely a very diverse variety, which gives us sustainability to this current yield. This pool right now just under 600K in terms of liquidity, paying out roughly 40% APR. So how do you actually claim it? So you click claim, and that will take you to the Taiga D app. So there's 2 functions on the Taiga D app. Number one is you can actually make claims on your LP tokens or on your synthetic asset, in this case Thai KSM. The second function is for those who have participated previously in our airdrop or have was an early user to the Taiga protocol. This is also the location where you would make the usage airdrop claim. It's still available for claim for those who haven't done so yet. And then finally, there's another function which is the dashboard, which I'm going to go into in just a bit, and it basically walks you guys through on the composition of the different products for Taiga currently. So going back to 3 pool, this is the card, and it basically shows again the APR as a whole. And if you click into the icon here, it actually shows the corresponding composition as well as the APR for each one. Okay, for each kind of incentives and or fees. So this section is split into 2 parts. This section here at the top just outlines the incentives that are being paid out. And then the section at the bottom outlines the fees that are being paid out. And all you have to do is just claim. Make sure your wallet is connected, your Polkadot.js wallet is connected, and you make the claim and the reward just goes into your wallet. So let's quickly look into the dashboard. All right, guys, let's spend some time to understand the dashboard that we have created for 3USD. It actually provides some good intelligence on how this pool is doing. So again, you can access the dashboard via our Taiga protocol D app. In the dashboard tab, make sure you're on the 3USD sub-tab. There's a few pieces of key information presented here. Number one, obviously, is the yield. And this yield that you guys are looking at, 3.63%, is just from the fees being collected. So this yield is composed of the swap fees as well as the redemption fees. 3.63% is basically annualized over the last 30 days. So pretty good yield, I would say, just for just from collecting transaction fees. And obviously with the additional incentives, right? We saw earlier that right now, the pool being at around 600K TVL, you're getting all in, around 40 something percent APR. The second metric that you guys can see is on a per day basis how much the pool is generating in terms of fees. And again, the fee is being captured in 3USD LP tokens. The third metric here shows the TVL, or the full supply basically of 3 pool. And then the fourth metric here shows the volume, amount of transaction volume per day in terms of USD. So the bottom two charts, the middle two charts basically shows the composition of the 3USD pool. So just from looking at this chart, as of today, USDT makes up around 115K, and USDC makes up 336K, and aUSD makes up 149K. So USDC is still leading the way in terms of composition. And then the chart here in the middle right hand side just shows you how much 3USD supply. So this is the LP token. It's outstanding currently. And then the bottom three charts just shows, just shows it's a graphical representation of the metric at the top. So how much transaction volume, on a daily basis, what type of transactions they are, whether they are, minting, redemption, or swap transactions. And then the last chart here on the right hand side just shows, bottom right hand corner, it just shows how much fees have been accumulated on a year-to-date basis. So we just launched this pool 3 weeks ago. Roughly right now, there's just under $600 collected in terms of fee balance. So yeah, this is actually a really insightful tool that you guys can make use of if you're looking to understand how this 3 pool is performing.